Hello, and welcome to another episode of Intune.training, the place to learn how to use Microsoft Intune, the Steve and Adam Show. Hey, I'm Adam.
Hey, I'm Steve.
Hey, Steve. What's going on, man?
Not much, Adam. Just having a bit of fun after the Christmas break and alike. How about yourself?
Yeah, well, same. Trying to figure out why my kids have to be petri dishes and keep getting us all sick, but we're getting there.
That's because they're kids,
Getting over
man.
it all.
That's what they do.
I know. Hopefully they start contributing to this family soon. Jeez,
Yeah.
it's getting old.
You'll have to start teaching them how to do computers and stuff.
Yeah, they're getting there. Actually, the kids got computers over Christmas, and
Nice.
they've been very excited learning how to do Minecraft. And I'll tell you, having a touchscreen for a kid is really, really nice because it lets them just completely interact intuitively instead of having to figure out the mouse and keyboard. And they need that eventually, but whatevs.
Definitely, it makes sense to me.
So we've got some cool stuff to cover today, but before we get into it, and we didn't talk about this in advance, but as our viewers know, I think some of them know, if you don't know, Steve is located over in Sydney, Australia, and currently you may have seen some news about a large portion of Australia being hit by wildfires, and so number one, Steve is okay, he's safe where he's at. But Australia is really struggling. So, if you can find ways to help contribute to causes to help, help people doing recovery or
Definitely.
Saving animals or whatever.
The Red Cross.
Whatever works for you. Think about Steve. Think about the folks in Australia and give them a hand. I think they'd appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for that, Adam. It's an interesting time over here at the moment. As of today. We've just had huge floods in Brisbane. So
floods, okay.
Yeah. We've gone from the extremes of Sydney, where we've been having smoke across the city for the whole day, and 30 to 40 degrees Celsius heat. Today, over the last 2 days, we've had an inch of rain each day. So it's like, oh, well, that's different, but unfortunately it's not falling in the fire zones. So yeah, it's pretty drastic out there at the moment. So yeah, make sure you look into it, and if you feel you should donate. Excellent.
All right. Well, glad you're safe, Steve, and we're praying for you guys and thinking about you guys. So yeah. All right, let's move on.
Yes, let's.
I don't know how to transition off of that, but hey, so today we are going to. Have you seen the other news? The most amazing news to come out of Redmond. Honestly, I think it's more impressive than any of the news that there's been cool that has come out recently.
That Windows 7 is no longer supported.
Oh yes, oh man, I totally forgot about that one. You are so right. That is
that okay. Sort of tops the fact that they're doing the whole environmental thing as well.
And they're doing the environmental thing. Okay, the third best news coming out of Redmond. Microsoft Edge, based on Chromium, Credge, whatever. They're just calling it Microsoft Edge. So this will replace the Edge that shipped with Windows 10. Or not replace, but it's sharing the same name. So it will eventually replace it. It's not going to just wipe out Edge today.
The important thing to say is, look, in the corporate world, it's not going to change it straight away, but in your home computers, it will. So Edge is going to be, the engine for Edge is being replaced, is the best way to put it. So
it will get the same name, keep the same name, get a new icon, and if you've been a Chrome user for any period of time, this will be an easy transition for you. If you have not been a Chrome user, hopefully you've been using Edge Dev or even Canary leading up to this, and hopefully you knew it was coming. But if you didn't, we're not really going to get into how to use the browser and new features. We are going to talk about what is currently available in Intune, as well as ConfigMgr. I almost said it.
You did.
So in MIM,
endpoint management.
In the MIM tool set, at the same time, you now have the ability to deploy right out of the box. There is a built-in functionality to deploy Edge, the new Edge,
Stable
to your
build,
devices
as well
with
as
just
dev.
just 4 clicks, I think. Even I mean, this is the one. It's legitimately just. It's close.
Well, we close. to create the package, maybe. Actually, no, it's more than 4 clicks.
Okay.
It's not 26 though.
But so we're going to talk about setting up the Edge app, and then we're going to talk about using ADMX backed templates to create policies to manage Edge, all within Intune. So you can, if you're used to doing this in traditional environment, you would have had to, package this up and create, do testing and all that sort of stuff, and then import your group policies, which is kind of funny because we were messing around with it on my machine here, which is not an Intune. So I was importing the ADMX templates, and Steve and I were laughing about, I don't remember where these go. Where am I? So anyway, the ease at which we're going to be able to implement and deploy Edge today is just amazing. Yep. Compared to what it has always been in the past. So let's get started.
Think the same as what we do with Office 365 in Intune. It's just been made simple. So Adam's going to be driving today, and I'm going to navigate him poorly throughout the tenant. So starting off, we want to go to the Intune section. And
I hope I have a machine that's good to go. Yep. Okay. All right, here we go.
You'll see that the legacy Edge icon's down the bottom tray of that VM. So that's really important to note there, Adam.
Yeah. Nope. So this is just a regular, just the default Edge, and that's it.
Yep.
We haven't done anything to this one, except put our faces on it.
Yeah, that's because we could.
All right. So here we go. So we're going to go to the Intune portal.
Yep.
And so do we want to do the app first, or do you want to configure it first?
We'll do the app first.
It's like the cart before the horse, right?
Yeah. Well, the app's the most important part.
Yes. Let's get it out there before we have control over
it. Yes.
Makes sense.
100%. So we're going to go to the apps, and we're going to we're going to add an app, the same as we traditionally would here. And that's going to go through with the drop-down, and you'll see now that there is Microsoft Edge version 77 and later. And this isn't just for Windows 10, but it's for Mac OS as well. But today we're going to focus on Windows 10.
Look at that. Zoom it.
Oh, Adam's worked out how to use Zoom it.
I don't know how to zoom it. There, look at that. Oh. The best day ever. If you've attended any of my speaking engagements, you'll realize how much of an achievement this is.
Now you need to put an arrow in there as well.
You know what? You just keep talking. We're all right.
All right, so we're going to select Windows 10 Preview. And then from here...
Or you could do iOS if you needed to.
Yep, Mac OS, not iOS.
Yeah,
so now we need to give it a name. And this is just going to be Microsoft Edge Stable. Here's what I'd be suggesting.
Can I go, Craig?
You can call it whatever you want.
It's our tenant.
Yeah. Just remember, if you do make it available to the customer, they will see this name, so make sure you give it a good name. Description must be populated. If you don't populate that, it's going to fail, thus the red asterisk there. And this is where we can put some information around how to get help, how to get privacy on what that browser is going to do. And as you can see, Adam's very excited. He's going to make this a featured app in the company portal. So we're going to click OK. And then the next...
It's also going to be a required app, so who cares? But
well, yeah. The next one's the really important one. This is where we select the channel that we want to deploy. What you'll note there is we have stable, beta, and dev. We do not have the ability to deploy Canary, which is good, because Canary shouldn't be going out to end users. Canary's for people who just want to play around and know that things are going to be broken, like my current computer. But if you change the drop-down, Adam, just to dev as an example, you'll see that the icon will change, and it'll say dev, and it'll say, if you go to beta, it'll say beta, and then you go to stable, and it has no reference there. So this is important. So make sure if you're deploying this out to your end users, you should only ever be deploying the stable version out, because that is fully tested and validated by Microsoft that it's all secure.
Now I will pause for a moment and say, I guess I should confirm this information first. I assume they're going to continue doing the beta and dev releases, and if they do, then I would assume that if you've got people, your devs in your environment that are writing software that are going to be running on these platforms, might be beneficial to have them on one of those releases. So the beta is every 6 months, and the dev is weekly, monthly, weekly.
So I think
Monthly?
dev's weekly and
Weekly.
beta is 6 weekly.
6 weeks. Okay.
I think. I haven't
something.
I haven't looked.
Go read the docs. We don't know. We're just making this stuff up. But they have the Canary. It's in order of most frequent. It's Canary.
Yeah, Canary's every day.
Dev and beta and stable.
Yep.
So, yeah, there you go. All right.
So now we just
anyway, you can deploy those other ones as well the same way.
Yeah, other than Canary, because you shouldn't be deploying Canary out this way because of its update frequency.
Yes. Okay, so now we've got it.
Yep.
And we have nothing deployed, and so that's where we go to edit it, and we can go to assignments and add a group.
Yep. And because this is our test tenant, we're going to deploy this to required to all devices. But in your environment, you should always. Where's the required? Yeah. And then select include groups, and then it'll come up there. Make this required for all devices.
All right.
So then it'll deploy out to all of our devices.
And so before we do this, so we could you could do a required, and then you could assign it to a group of users or devices, just like you do with anything else.
Yep. And you should. That's best practice.
Yes.
Very important to stress. That is best practice.
So don't do what we're doing. Yeah. Do it this way. You know what? For the first time, let's do it the right way.
Okay. Intune license is what I'd say.
Okay, so that'll be us. Yep. That'll be our users, not our devices, probably.
Which is okay. Right. Click OK, yep. And we save it all the way through.
And we're done. Okay, so now we have created a required deployment. Now, should I go and refresh my device, or should we wait and get policies pushed first?
Let's go to the device and hit refresh on it, or sync settings. Okay. Just so we can sit there and it will hopefully update while we're going through and doing the profiles, because it'll take a little bit to download the updated configuration.
Okay.
So if we hit the cog in the company portal and then just hit sync and then we can go back to the Intune portal while that's going through, and let's create our configuration settings for.
Sorry, I went fast there. So we're clicking on device configuration.
Yep.
By the way, if we click too fast and you miss it, you can just follow the breadcrumbs at the top here.
Yep. Okay, and if you hit profiles, and then what we're going to do here is create a profile, and we're going to call this Win 10 Edge. Yep. And then we're going to select our platform, and it's definitely going to be Windows 10 here, and then our configuration is going to be the ADMX, or admin templates. So this is the equivalent of group policy in Intune. And we'll click through here, and it goes and creates it, and then we go and select our settings or category type to being Edge version 77 or later.
And so just to kind of reiterate what we were talking about Office as well, so you can deploy Office the same way we just did Edge.
Yep.
And there's a whole category for managing it with templates. So, I mean, I think that's really nice that they're integrating all of that together. Now, also, we were peeking at this earlier because, I mean, okay, I know we don't normally test in advance, but we at least were looking in advance. 17, there are 17 pages to scroll through here of settings for Edge. So
that's huge.
Holy guacamole!
The important thing. You go, Adam.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So what I was going to say is, look, the important thing to note around all of this is you'll see on the screen still in the web browser, there's Microsoft Edge, and then there's Microsoft Edge default settings user can, and then what that's saying is user can override those settings. Right at the top, there's one there as well, Adam.
Let's see. I'll sort here and see if we get.
It won't sort well.
No, it won't. I messed it up. Whatever.
It's all good. So basically what that means is we can do like what we've done in IE settings in the past, where you have a soft setting and a hard setting. And that soft setting is saying, well, look, when you open the browser for the first time, we want it to have this setting. But we then may want to change it afterwards. Otherwise, we can sit there and say it is always going to look like this. So let's just search for our new tab or home tab.
Well, so but before we do that, I wanted to do this then. Okay, so I think it's important from a transitional perspective. So we're coming from traditional Windows here and Windows management. So this is what it's going to look like in your environment if you have the ADMX templates. So you've got Microsoft Edge, default settings, and Edge update. And so same thing here on the user side. So this is what Steve was talking about here. So Microsoft Edge default settings, users can override. And then there's these other ones that they cannot override. That's right. And so just to give you an idea, I'm saying there's 17 pages, but when you're viewing it here in group policy management and it's grouped together, it's not as it doesn't feel like as much.
Accessible.
Because it's sliced and diced here and everything. So anyway, just to give you a comparison, that's what that looks like. And also, I mean, honestly, but personally, I would probably set it up like this because this is what I'm familiar with. I would probably browse through it through Group Policy Editor, and then go back into Intune and say, okay, these are the settings that I'm looking for.
And so you'll see them,
and that way I can get familiar with it.
On the right-hand side where it says path, that's the actual path that you're going to see in group policy. So
yes,
if you go and read any documentation, or if you go and read any blog posts where they reference group policy, go to Intune and have a look at that path, and you should be able to see those settings.
So this one here at the top, this is the path. So Microsoft Edge, startup homepage. So that's exactly, we're in the same place here. And so then that first one, hide the default, that's this one here. So same kind of deal.
Yep.
And if we were to go to edit that one, no.
So okay. The font's a little bit small on that one, Adam.
It is, sorry.
That's right.
Anyway, you read the stuff on this screen and it shows you the exact same thing.
And that's the thing, is if you click on, say, default search provider URL, Adam, just a random 1 second group from the bottom, and you'll see the same text on the blade that pops out there. And then we can go and select enable.
So it would be equivalent to viewing it here in your group policy editor.
Right.
Same. Okay, so we'll quit messing with that and go back over here. And so we want to change which items today, Steve?
We're doing the new tab, correct, Adam?
New tab, yes. Okay, so I'm going to point out a thing that Microsoft probably doesn't want me to point out, but it really bothers me. Okay, so if I go into my new tab here, this always searches in Bing. No matter how much I change things, no matter what I do, it's always using Bing. And honestly, I like Google better. And I don't want this search box. I want a blank tab. Can I just have a blank tab? And you can't make it a blank tab. And so what we've discovered is if you right-click and you view page source, it actually will show you the source behind that tab. And so what we know is we're going out to the new tab page.msn.com to bring this page in. And so if I just navigate to that, I suspect that will bring me to the same URL. And so looking at this from an administrative perspective or whatever, we have the option to change that. And so
we can put that as your own corp page, or we could have that as your own search engine. Ideally, you'd put it as your own search page, own corp page, not changing the default setting for your staff, because it's their choice which way they go.
I'm refreshing my browser here because I don't feel like the search is working.
So what you need to do there, Adam, is just select PowerShell scripts and then select back onto profiles. Because this is where refreshing the browser sometimes causes it to lose its place.
It was the 17 pages that caused it to lose its place, if we're honest.
Yes.
I'm so excited about this. All right. Try
let's
new
just
tab.
do new tab. And
it just isn't searching for me. I don't know.
scroll down the bottom. Yeah, it's not searching.
Maybe I need to use a different browser.
No, that should search. Alright, let's just take action on startup. We'll grab the first one in the list rather than trying to do stuff. So this is where we're going to sit there and say, well, let's have it so if you select the drop down atom, we want it to open a list of URLs. And then it should give us the ability to find that list somewhere.
It doesn't. Oh, now I've lost it forever. What's this one?
Nope, there's no list. Awesome.
Okay, hold on.
Let's go and set
So I've got my browser zoomed in quite a bit for...
No, that's not it.
No?
Alright, let's go back to where the zoom was, because otherwise we can't read that.
I know.
Cool. Let's select homepage as well. So let's set our homepage, because we need to set a really important one. See if you can search for homepage now, maybe. There we go. Configure the homepage URL. Halfway down the screen, yep.
Oh.
And we're going to set it to the most important page, which is http://intune.training. We'll click OK on that. And you'll see that we've...
Oh, and by the way, I didn't really pay attention to which one of the ones I clicked on, so users can override that.
Perfect.
You don't want to override that?
Well, no, I think that's good. Because then we can demo that concept.
Okay, so there is a startup homepage, and then there's default settings homepage. And so there are 4 places to set this.
That's right.
Okay, so then so we are set, and so what we've discovered in the past is that just like in group policy, we've changed it, we've closed the dialog, hit OK, and now it is saved.
Yes.
The policy is configured and done.
But
so now we
need to assign it, so if we hit the fly out on the left-hand side atom, go back to Win10 stable, and we need to assign that to the same group.
I do this every time. There's different dialogues between the two.
Yes.
That's why it's...
And we put it to the Intune licensing. And we hit save.
Alright, now what we hope is that has happened back here is that we have Edge installed already on this machine.
And it hasn't changed, so if we hit sync.
Also could be traversing the world right now, because this is like an Asia tenant. How does that work?
It relies on the Microsoft CDN network sitting behind the scenes to make sure that everything's consistent. But if you're in Australia, so if the tenant's in Australia and the content, and the device is sitting in the US, it'll still pull it across the backhaul network.
Well, that's good to know.
So it's good, but there's room where Microsoft could look at how that distribution points process works, is probably the best way to explain it, where you have the ability to say, well, I'm going to have people sitting and stationed in the UK, so I want them to have a DP in the UK. If that makes sense?
Yep. Alright, so we are syncing and things, so now we wait. So at some point we should see it as a featured app, if nothing else. And it is. We have no featured apps yet.
Yep, so that should come down.
And just to make sure, I'm going to double check our...
I've already checked the groups and they're correct.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
You're awesome.
That's what I'm here for, to make you look good.
Oh, you're going to try a lot harder.
So if we go and browse to the devices atom.
Yep.
In Intune. And then we go and select desktop-06 LAD.
Is that yours?
Nope, that's yours.
That's my other one. Okay.
That's the one that you're working on at the moment.
Okay.
And if you go down to Managed Apps, and you'll see here that it's going through the process of installing and waiting for install status for Microsoft Edge Stable. So if we select that, we can see the life cycle of the Microsoft Edge package in the environment, and you can see that it's saying, well, last check-in at 11:03 p.m. was that it was successful. So let's have a look back on the machine if we could, Adam.
It could just be downloading the payload. Who knows?
And if you go to on the left-hand side and select apps, so installed apps as well, because installed apps will show us not just the applications that have been made available, but it'll show you all the apps that have been installed. So it should start appearing there shortly, and I'll have all our settings there.
So I'll put you on the spot here. So I was messing with this before, and I'm curious to know, so at this stage, where else can I look on the machine to see? So I mean, on the portal, I can see that it's giving me some status, and so it knows, the device knows that it's getting it. It's definitely available. So where on the machine can I go and look directly to see what's occurring here?
So this would be so we can go to settings, so in Windows settings, and we do just go back one level and then go to accounts, we should select access work or school, and then select the connect to, and we'll see info. From there we should see the list of applications that have been made available.
So they should show here in this list.
That's correct. It should be in that list, and as you can see, it's not there yet.
Okay.
There's also a sync button there, but you also have the ability to hit create report, and when you hit create report, it goes and creates it in the C public documents MDM diagnostics location. So every user on that device has the ability to go to that path because it's a public documents location. So users, public documents, and diagnostics, and it's a HTML file that has a report. So we'll get you to zoom it in a little bit if we could, Adam.
Let me see if I can. Well, that didn't help at all.
Nope.
We just have to zoom it in the browser.
Yep. And this is where we can see all the settings that have been applied to that device. So we can then start building out, alright, what's going on and how do we need to fix this up? So we should have the Edge installed on it shortly, but Edge should exist in there for settings. Again,
I don't see it as an app yet.
Yeah, because there's default settings in the profile, in certain profiles, where they include the word Edge. That's why you'll see that in the list. So that should come through, rather than sitting here and waiting for it. Let's not, because it could take up to another half an hour to process through, as we all know.
Okay.
So at a high level, that's how easy it is to set that up, and getting the that version, or the latest version of Microsoft Edge, sent out to the devices. And then we push out the configuration the same as we would an ADMX policy, being group policy.
So is there anything, I mean, so other than generating that report, is there anything occurring on the machine that we can go and watch? Like, is there like a cache where it's downloading the file to?
Yes,
or
there is. So
things?
if we go C program files, if I can remember off the top of my head.
I know that we've looked in the Intune app before here, the Intune management extension.
Yep.
Okay.
And in there you'll see content, which will have the download files coming in there, so incoming, staging, and detection scripts. But again, that's only there while it's running. You also can go into the registry. I can't remember the path off the top of my head, but there is the ability to go into the registry and pull that information out Let's have a look if I can see if I can map that through. Yes, so what we'll be looking at is HK Local Machine Software Microsoft Intune Management Extension. And then in here we can go to content and start seeing the information about what's going on. We have inventories and policies, and from there we can step through and see what those policies are. And then there's Win32 apps, and these will be the applications that we've deployed out using Win32. And there's also sidecar policies there.
Okay.
So that's where all the information goes, or should appear, about what's going on.
So it just seems like at this point we just don't have it yet. But it, like you said, it could take another 30 minutes or so for it to happen. So
that's right.
Let's give that a minute and let that do its thing.
Yep. So I think that.
But ultimately, yeah, I mean, we've shown you before how to deploy apps and things, and so ultimately, that's all there is to doing this. And
That's right.
Follow the steps, and you will end up with a working product. Yeah, it's just we're not going to sit here with dead air waiting, because nobody likes that.
No.
I mean, I kind of do, but whatever.
So
that's it. I mean, that's magic happens, and then you end up with a cool browser that auto remembers all your tabs you had open and all those things.
Yep.
And that's it. We are done.
Yep. I think that's a good coverage of what we're getting with Microsoft Edge coming from Intune. There's also, when you go into ConfigMgr, once you're on the newer builds, there's an option in there to deploy out Microsoft Edge as well.
Yep. Same, and it's almost the same experience there as well. So it just works, and then.
Which build does it come with? Is it 1910?
I know it's 1910. Honestly, I don't know if it works for 1906 or not.
Yeah.
But it's a WSUS catalog. You have to go add the product in there to enable it.
Yep.
So there are some blogs and things related to that folks can go check out there.
Perfect.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you have Edge Stable Edition. Roll it out to everyone.
Yes.
Post haste. And I mean, if you've listened this far, I'll tell you this little bit as well. So, if you are managing legacy browser compatibility, use this browser and get rid of everything else.
Yep.
Get rid of Chrome, Firefox, IE. This one will let you integrate. It'll automatically launch IE in the browser for compatibility mode purposes, with all seamlessly in the same browser. So I think that's a huge win. We've got numerous applications internally that we have to manage, still have to manage IE policies for, and this is going to be huge for us to be able to pull the plug on this. So
definitely.
Yeah,
and that's exactly it. Like, look, get it out there. At least get it into pilot as quick as you can, because it's going to make your life easier. Because there's not going to be the conversation of, well, I need to have Chrome, or I'm using Firefox, or I want to go and use Safari because I'm an Apple person and I need to have Safari. You can sit there and go, look,
yes,
Edgium or Chromium or Edge Chrome will do exactly the same as what you're getting with Google Chrome. And it's not that we're sitting here and saying you have to use Microsoft products. What we're sitting here and saying is you're going to have a nicer, seamless experience, because we can sign into the new browser with your account and have it browse and roaming from computer to computer with all of your settings and all of your configuration.
Yeah, I mean, you could sign in if you've got enterprise state roaming enabled, all that sort of stuff. It just handles it.
Yep.
The most important piece here is that we're not trying to sell you on a new browser. This browser really can do so many things that we have been wanting from an enterprise perspective for so long.
Yep.
It's one browser to rule them all. It will now look. if you want to still use Chrome at home and use Firefox at home or whatever obscure browser because you have different preferences, great. But from an enterprise perspective, give this one a serious look, because it will simplify your management. It will help you collapse all of the different browsers into one seamless experience, and you can give your users consistent messaging and consistent training across all of the different back-end things that you're having to manage. It really is an enterprise quality browser.
Exactly.
And give it a shot for sure if you're still hesitant about it.
Yep. I can't agree anymore. Cool. So I think that really wraps us up today, Adam.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a good point to close out this video. Obviously, I'm Steve Hosking. You can catch me on the socials, on Twitter primarily as On-Prem Cloud Guy, and Adam is.
And I'm Adam Gross, and you can find me on Twitter at AdamGrossTX. And as always, leave comments. And by the way, thank you so much for the comments. You guys, somehow we've started to get an influx of comments, and you guys are just making our day. You're making this really fun and really easy to keep going. You're asking good questions, and we're trying to get to the questions. Obviously, we've got to do a topic at a time and 1 week at a time, so it takes a little bit.
Yep.
But we've had folks reaching out to us via social media and other ways and asking questions, and we've been able to offer assistance and things. So definitely keep it coming. Thank you very much. And if we're slow to respond, hit us up again. We'll get to you hopefully. So yeah, and thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
See you,
Steve.
See you, Adam.